Sleeves are okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Multistrada Prep series where we're getting this thing ready from used to track prepped and where we completely go through it and fix everything that is not up to speed or maybe just needs addressed before you would send a bike on track. You don't really want to take chances on brakes or anything really second guessing anything, so before you take a used bike and put it on track, it's always a good idea to go through it and make sure it's up to your standard of riding. Some people let other things go, some people don't. I'm not going to be the judge for you, but use your best judgment and just go out in there and have fun. So tomorrow we're going to see my friend Jake, who I'll put his channel down below. He's been making great videos. If this is worth a watch, his stuff is definitely worth a watch, so please go check him out. But tomorrow we are going to see him, and I need to ride this over to his house. So I'm gonna see what I can get done tonight. My goal is really just to get the brake system done. There's a common problem with air bubbles in the back brake system, so I'm gonna change the fluid and hopefully just gravity bleed it overnight. I'm gonna tie the caliper up and let it hang. So we're gonna do that, but I'm gonna have to throw the wheel back on it, get it off the lift again, and take it to his house we're gonna pack the trailer and make sure everything fits. So he's very kind and let me use his trailer, or we'll be trailering the light bike down to Florida, down in Jennings. So at the end of the month. So thank you again, Jake, but we gotta get this thing ready to ride over to his house. So let's get to it. So for the rear brakes, we got EBC brake pads. I have a set of organics and sintered. You don't need both. I wasn't sure which one I was gonna run, so I went ahead and got a set of each ones at the time. And I may use the other one as a spare set either way, but I think I'm gonna put the organics on due to the heat issues on the rear hubs here. So as you can see, this brake line sits kind of next to the exhaust and gets pretty hot. So the rear brake fluid actually bakes pretty easily, and I really don't want to introduce any more heat than I have to. So because of that, I think I'm gonna run the organic pad. We're gonna get this caliper popped off and get tearing away at these brakes. Properly hang the caliper later, we're gonna need to remove this sensor. It's one 8mm bolt, so I'm gonna crack this loose. Once we take this mounting bolt off, we should be able to dangle the caliper, so the port on the back here, which is normally on the bottom, will be on the top. So we're gonna hang it from somewhere and get that bled. But right after we change these pads, which don't even look bad, but we're in here, so we're gonna do it. We got them. So, as you can see, we have this loose now. I took this top bracket off the wire guard, so it just gives you so much more room to work on this thing. There's no real reason with everything off to really just not take one more bolt out. I mean, it's really not that bad. So take the bolt out, give yourself plenty of space to work, and I'm gonna clean this caliper up and get these pads off. So. That's filthy. So we're gonna definitely clean this up and get them new pads installed. All right, so we've gotten the caliper pretty properly cleaned up. It's not perfect. There is some gunk in there. I didn't get too far down in there, but it's definitely better than it was, and that's the goal. Just leave it better than you found it. One thing I want to say, or at least note, on these EBC pads, I noticed they were a little too tight clearance-wise to easily slip. So all I did was just take the backing edge, sanded that a little bit, and now they slide nice and clean. I know that's upside down, but all right. So we have our rear brake all cleaned up. We got our pads installed. Our pins are in, everything's clean. The only thing we have left to do is get rid of this nasty brake fluid. And this is the brake fluid I'm going to be using. It's Modal 600 or Modal RBF 600. It's .4, so it's meant for a little bit higher temperature, and I should see a little bit less brake fade with this. So we're going to put this in it, and hopefully it likes it. So I'm gonna go ahead and bleed it like this and get it all set back up, and let's probably get the rear hub put back together tonight. And as you can see, we have a nice clean reservoir full of fluid. It is topped off and bled. I do believe we have no air in the lines, so we should be good. Our caliper is looking all cleaned up, and our new pads are installed, so everything should be good to go with the rear here. I just got to get these all cleaned back up and then put the rear wheel back on, and I still have to decide how I'm going to run to Jake's house with the taillight. I might just put it in so it looks there, but I'm probably not going to hook it up, so we'll see how that goes. But I got to get the rear end of this thing together. And some of these bolts to hold this heat shroud were a little stripped, so I had to take them out with any means necessary, and ended up goobering some of the bolts. So I have to replace them, but for now I'm just going to leave this heat shield off. I tried installing it with it on, and it was too hard it would start hitting the brackets here, so I ended up having to take it off. I was able to remove it without taking that bracket off, but I'm gonna have to reinstall it later, and I also might paint it because it's got some boot scuffs on it, but and some scratches that I just put in it. So that needs some TLC, but right now I'm gonna get this exhaust put back on, and that way we can keep going on this rear end. I think we got to a pretty good spot today. I got most of the rear end where I wanted it. The only thing left I have to do is torque down that rear wheel and then head over to Jake's, make sure this thing fits in the trailer, and then I'll have a little bit more time after that to get this thing back on the lift, and we will finish up doing all the rest of the prep work that we need to do. So I want to thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. If you want to stay more connected, follow me on Instagram at KingKDP Rides. I'll throw a link down below. Thanks again.